Welcome to my dad's car. Enjoy!
Welcome to My Dad's Car, a podcast discussing our personal relationship with automotive nostalgia. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be about your dad's car. It can be your mum's, your grand's, your parents', guardians, or even a neighbour's. If it made an impression, let's talk about it.
Good day to you.
How are you doing? You all right?
All right, mate. Yeah, sorry. Oh, a minute late, not too bad. Busy, yeah. How's things?
Yeah, we're all right, thank you.
Oh, I can't hear you. 1 second. This definitely will be on my laptop. It's definitely a me issue. Oh, I think I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
We had we recorded Johnny Smith a few weeks ago, and we had a similar sort of technical gremlins.
Having good company.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, we'll start. For the benefit of the tape, we're joined by Katie Ramsay-Gough, who has been recommended to us after we did an episode with Faye Hatton, who's involved with Driven Minds. They reached out to us and said, we've got a whole load of people who are really cool and love to have a chat with you if you would like to speak to some of them. And one of the people they suggested was Katie. So, yeah, here you are, Katie. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we get too into parents' cars, etc., do you want to tell us a little bit about Driven Minds?
Yeah, about what we do. Yeah, so Driven Minds started in 2021, and essentially we are a mental health in motorsport community interest organisation.
Okay.
So our kind of core goals are providing mental health support in the racing paddocks throughout motorsport in the UK.
Okay.
Obviously, future ambitions, we'd love to go worldwide, but we'd love to have in every motorsport paddock on a race weekend, there's mental health first aiders and that support. And no matter if you're a driver or team staff, mechanic, photographer, spectator, there's support available if you are struggling, having a tough time, or just need someone to talk to.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we've got a lovely collection of ambassadors who all volunteer for us, and they've all got different roles within motorsport. Like I said, we've got photographers, marshals, drivers, team staff, and we think that gives them the edge of being able to really relate to the people that they speak to and provide support to, because they're in that same environment as well. And they're all mental health first aid trained.
Nice.
Okay, cool. And is that an environment where, is there a prolific mental health issue as such? Is it because it's maybe considered a predominantly male environment, and obviously there's a lot said about kind of male mental health, or what's the driving force? Yeah,
definitely. I think if we roll back to how we first kind of started, so it was back in 2020. I was working in motorsport. I had a day job as well, but I did some motorsport work on the weekends, which is great. And then beginning of 2020, that's when it all started to fall apart with the pandemic, and everyone working in motorsport, a large majority of us are self-employed, own their own businesses, small race teams, that sort of thing, particularly in club racing. So when lockdown happened, all the work kind of disappeared. And it really kind of highlighted losing that financial stability, losing that kind of calendar. And yes, I've got all this work lined up, and that all to kind of fall away really opened up the vulnerability of that industry.
Yeah.
And like you say, particularly being male dominated. And let's be fair, men don't like to talk still about their mental health and their struggles. They have this perception, I guess they need to be strong, be that kind of leadership figure, and in turn that maybe stops them from opening up and realising, I need to maybe get a bit of help. So a bunch of us kind of got together, and we're lucky enough that we were able to sort of share our experiences and share the support. And then we thought, well, we need to kind of go external as well. We can actually create something for this and really provide this platform to really open up conversations and be able to signpost people to the right support.
Fantastic.
I think in general in motorsport, very male dominated still, but also it's quite a high pressure environment. So you've got, results and being in the top step of a podium, no matter if you're the driver or you're the team manager or mechanic, that seems to be like the sign of success. We're actually only one person can be in that top step. So you're setting yourself up for failure pretty quickly if that's the only goal that you have.
Yep.
So, type of support that we want to provide is how you define success as well. How do you define resilience? How can you create, success over a race weekend, which isn't just a trophy at the end of it, but is it improving, overcoming adversity? All that kind of stuff can kind of bring together a successful race weekend.
And yeah, lastly, how do people find you? Either kind of in a physical sense at a track, and also, yeah, where can they find you if they're on the internet?
Yeah, so we're probably the most active on Instagram. So we've got Facebook pages, Driven Minds UK, and on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
I would say Instagram is definitely where we're most active, and people can message us on Instagram for support or some advice and guidance.
Yeah.
We're not obviously professionals, but we can definitely signpost you to the right places. We have our website as well, and that has various sort of articles and what we're up to and a calendar of where we'll be across circuits for the upcoming season.
Sounds good.
And then actually at circuit, we wear polo shirts. They're black and yellow. They do attract the wasps and bees in the summer. So I have a massive fear of wasps. So you usually see me running around, and I'm not running away from anyone. I'm usually running away from a wasp. So yeah, you'll definitely see us at track as well.
Yeah. Okie dokie. We'll jump into it. What's your earliest car memory?
Do you know, I have the worst memory. So I have a brother who is just 18 months older than me. We've always been quite close. So I dropped him a message and said, let's talk about mum and dad's cars, because they weren't flashy. My dad was on a graduate wage when we were born, and my mum didn't go back to work until I was about 10 or 11 years old. We saw that growing up around a single income household and trying to get two young kids around, and my dad obviously working as well. He remembers a light blue Peugeot from around when I was first born, but my first memory for me was a green Rover. So I'm trying to see if I can find what the make and model of it, but I just remember it was an ex-company car, I believe, from a local car garage near to my grandparents. And it was falling apart at the seams when they first bought it, but it was this big enough car that could put in both parents, two kids, and all the kind of fun stuff that comes with carting around two young kids at the time.
Yeah. Cool. Was it an estate, saloon?
Saloon.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, saloon. And the one memory I have of it was it must have been when they've cleaned the car when you go to collect it. And I do think trying to spruce up was probably setting themselves up to fail, because it was, battered and obviously well used. And it had this I want to say it was like a cleaning product. They must have gone through the whole interior with it, but it left such a greasy residue. Okay. And my earliest memory of, definitely, younger than 10 years old, and sort of every time I open and close the door, getting that grease on my hands. And they had that car for years until it ultimately gave up the ghost, and it was always greasy.
Okay.
And it definitely wasn't me from sweets and crisps and snacks in the back seat. It definitely came with the car. But yeah, I'll definitely remember that.
Did you say it was a company car of your dad's?
It was an ex-company car.
Right, ex-company car, yeah.
I believe the garage they got it from was just full of ex-company cars. So it was a box standard model, from what I understand, probably like a 1.4, 1.6, something like that. Dark green, beautiful thing.
Was it always your dad behind the wheel, or did your mum drive as well?
Mostly my dad for long journeys. So both my parents are Scottish, so we would travel back and forth to East Kilbride, just outside of Glasgow, on a regular basis. So my dad would always do the long journeys. My mum would do the pottering around town. Yeah. And she's had a number of bumps and scrapes. I hope she doesn't listen to this. Yeah, mostly relating to her footwear. I definitely have learned the lesson of wear sensible shoes when driving, because there's been a few moments of foot slipping out the sandal, putting a foot back on the wrong pedal, and then sorry to the car in front, getting a bit of a hit at the backside. She's definitely known in our family of not being the best at driving.
That's the first for us, I think, a footwear-related injury.
Yeah.
Or incidents, so to speak.
I can't say I've ever been involved in such a thing. Touch wood.
Yes.
Since you're giving the heels up, you've been all right.
Yeah, I've had to give that up since I got married. Yeah. What came after the Rover? Do you remember?
I think it was the Bora. It was a Volkswagen Bora, like a dark blue. Again, probably going along the theme of sensible car.
Yeah.
My dad, I think he's like a secret petrol head and didn't really get to really sort of divulge into that. My mum definitely not into cars. So everything's around practicality. So I remember it being a Bora followed by a Passat. So very kind of box standard, get you from A to B, nothing particularly exciting. Apologies for any Passat drivers out there who think I'm bashing them. And then it didn't really get exciting until he got his Golf a couple of years after that.
Okay.
So it was just a 2-litre Golf diesel, but he definitely was able to, I guess, release some kind of, I want to drive this like a proper car. Definitely not when my mum was in the car. With my brother and I, he did. With my mum, no, it was definitely sensible, but it kind of released a little bit of a speed demon out of him.
Nice.
If you take us back to the Rover, you said you were doing some long trips up to Scotland. Did you have the radio on, or kind of cassettes or CDs? And yeah, what were you listening to?
I think it was always Radio 2, possibly back then.
Okay.
What would typically happen is my brother and I would usually bicker in the back seat. So we went through phases. I think being close in age meant that we got on sometimes, and then when we started falling out, we'd really fall out. So a lot of the time it was parents' radio on in the front, and in the back we had our remote cassette players, probably back then.
Like a Walkman, yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually upgrading to the CD Walkman era. So I was very much a Shania Twain, Britney Spears, all that kind of cheesy kind of music, which I'm sure probably wouldn't have been played out loud in the car.
Fair enough. Aside from your parents' cars, then, do you recall kind of interesting cars in your street, or maybe friends or neighbours, or perhaps maybe grandparents? What they were driving back in the day?
No, I think I had a really, sorry to my neighbours as a child, but I think, it was in a new build estate, I think at a time in a lot of young families. So everyone was just trying to sort of get by another, mostly on one car, and nothing particularly exciting. It was only really, I guess, of starting to go to Alton Park as a child with my dad and my brother that I started to realise and see, I guess, there's more exciting cars than the Bora or the Rover that I grew up with.
What was it that took you there? Was that kind of your dad's influence, or was that kind of just the thought that you might enjoy it as a day out?
Yeah, so if I think back of how I got into cars and, the motorsport scene, I think at first it wasn't something that came naturally to me. My mum wanted me to be into dolls and Barbies and the more that kind of stereotypically girly stuff.
Yeah.
My dad wanted my brother to get into football, but my brother was very into anything mechanical and cars, and he was very, very early on, that was his interest. And at first I was thinking, cars are a waste of time, racing's boring, it's driving around in circles, and didn't really kind of buy into it until I kind of realised there was no one really around me that was into the things I was into, and I couldn't really, even myself, figure out what I was into. So I guess in a way to kind of fit in, I was like, oh, well, I'll go with my brother and my dad to Alton Park, or I'll go watch some racing, and at least I'm out the house. And I think that's when I slowly started to see the appeal, the adrenaline to it, the competitive element to it as well. I think that's when it started to grow from something to do to try and fit into actually something that ends up taking up a lot of my interest and time and hobbies.
Yeah. What's your earliest Alton Park memory? Do you kind of remember what you kind of went to go and see?
It was always British touring cars.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you who was racing. I've definitely got some old programs somewhere in the depths, I think, of boxes.
Nice.
And I just remember we'd always sit on the grass banking. We'd get sort of bring obviously food into the circuit, because even back then it was quite expensive, and just spend the full day there. And we were so lucky that a lot of my memories were in the sun. It wasn't kind of horrible weather, it was nice, it was sort of spring, summertime, a lot more kind of a family day out. And then obviously in the background had the racing, and then obviously slowly starting to realize, okay, this is something I want to be involved with.
Would your mum go with you, or was it just the three of you?
I think she went a couple of times, but it's not her vibe, I would say. No, I mean, if it was a Formula One hospitality suite, I think she'd be all there, kind of champagne on tap, comfortable seat, and kind of dip in and out of the racing as she pleases. I think that would really kind of be something she'd be bought into. But anoraks on, standing up all day, cheering drivers, not having big screens, so all you can see the cars, going past and trying to figure out what overtakes have happened, which you haven't seen. Just wasn't her thing, but it definitely started to become mine.
Feed and water me and I'll come. She's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can wear my sandals.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she can't wear heeled sandals standing in the grass for 8 hours now.
I've been to quite a few Goodwood events, and you kind of do feel sorry for wives and girlfriends who are there in heels at the beginning of the day. And they've kind of done themselves up, and you're like, you look lovely, but that's going to hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. So, I always feel self-conscious. I think going to these events and I'd be there in my Converse and trackies or Converse and jeans, and didn't feel particularly glamorous. I was definitely more of a tomboy growing up as well.
Yeah.
But obviously I felt the benefit on my feet when it came to home time.
The good revival last year, Andy, you went, didn't you? And we went on separate days, and that was an absolute mud bath, wasn't it? In the car park in particular.
Yeah.
It was very hard to navigate, sort of getting from your car to the actual event. I remember just seeing loads of cars just getting stranded.
Oh gosh.
And like these really old Range Rovers and whatnot, trying to tow people back to where they need to go.
We had a similar experience Silverstone for the Formula One back in 2012.
Oh, okay.
We got there on the Friday and it rained all Friday, all Saturday. We were in the car park that eventually they closed because it was just too flooded. And then it came to race day, glorious sun, it was brilliant. But obviously the mud and the flooding was still there. So we were like, how are we going to get these cars out? My dad had an Audi A5 at the time. And we were like, this is just not going to go anywhere. And they brought sort of like tractors from around the circuit and they were ripping off bumpers because they were just trying to get these cars out and they just weren't happening. So the local rugby team had come down to help. And it was 2 lads to a car and they were pushing them out of the mud. And my dad used this in my wedding speech, I believe. And he wanted to get out of the car park. He was really scared about his car, didn't want a bumper getting ripped off or anything going wrong.
No.
And he said, we need some help here. So I was in my lovely purple dress when I obviously impressed Lewis Hamilton, as if he'd seen me from the stands, and managed to gather up a big bunch of these rugby players. I was like, please, can you help me get my dad's car out? So we had about 12 lads pushing this car out. And my dad and my brother were like, this is horrendous that we've had to ask you to do this, but it got us out. And we were out in time and the car survived. So
excellent.
Yes. Not really championing women in motorsport at that moment, but it definitely did help save the car.
Have you had a go at motorsport as such? Have you done kind of karting, or has your brother kind of done any of that? Or have you just stayed sort of spectator and then working in it?
Yeah, so my brother, bless him, always had ambitions to be a Formula One driver, but 2 things held him back, and that was definitely budget.
It's a big one.
He's just over 6'4", so and rugby player type build, so I think very early on it was, I can't even fit in one of these things. So he does a lot of sim racing.
Okay.
That's definitely where he kind of sits. He's got all the kit and really gets into that, which is great.
Yeah.
I have done 2 track days. Okay. So my husband races.
Oh, cool.
So that's how we kind of met. So he was like, oh, wouldn't it be really great to have like a team together and we race together? Wouldn't it be fantastic? And I wanted to really impress him. And I'm like, yeah, I can race cars. I've been around motorsport. I know what I'm doing. I drive down the M6 toll on a regular basis. I know how to drive quickly and safely. So first track day was at Donington. So he had at the time a Citroen C1 for endurance racing and an Audi TT as well, for more the kind of sprint side. And handled them both fine. The Audi TT choked a little bit because apparently I was driving it too slow and it wasn't used to it. So I thought, well, it survived and it was my first track day. I didn't crash it. Brilliant. Second track day for my birthday was Alton Park in the Citroen C1 Endurance. And to set the scene, it was at end of January. It was icy. It was cold. I was told that there was grease on the track, apparently. And I went a little bit too hot into turn 1, lost it, overcorrected. And as I was going backwards into the barrier, was apologising to my now husband sat next to me,
oh, dear.
Going, I'm really sorry, just as we smacked into the barrier. So, I wrote that car off.
Oh, no.
So that was not great. And that was definitely my racing career over before it started.
Are you wearing sandals?
No, I wasn't. I think I was in Converse from memory, but I definitely knackered my ankle from one of the pedals smacking into it.
Oh, God.
But obviously styled it out because I didn't want to really play at what had happened. But the one, I guess, kind of good thing maybe around motorsport being men and very male dominated is that when we got back into the paddock, the car came back looking absolutely so much sorry for itself. It was miserable. It was battered, completely written off. And everyone thought it was Nick, my husband, that had crashed the car because they wouldn't expect a woman to be out on a track day in a race car. It was obviously Nick that had wrote it off. So he had a lot of, no, it wasn't me. No, it was this one over here who's now hiding. But yeah, no, definitely staying away from the racing seat. But I've sort of, done lots of roles kind of around motorsport over the years.
Mhm. Are there any cars from your past or kind of your childhood or maybe stuff you remember seeing on TV or something as a kid that you kind of think, I'd like to get one of those as an adult?
Do you know what, the first car was like, this will be like life goals if I get one, was an Audi R8. So when they were first launched.
Okay.
And I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And I was like, this is the kind of the car for me.
Mm.
And I think seeing my dad was very career driven, and seeing him going throughout the years, building his way up the career ladder and getting himself into a much successful position, I always kind of idolized that. And I kind of associated, if I work hard, I can advance in my career and then I can buy really nice cars. And that will be the thing that I'd really enjoy out of it. So I didn't see a car as ever as being like an A to B. It was always sort of like a thing I really want to indulge in. And it was my own kind of reflection to myself of, I've done well, I've achieved this. And an Audi R8 at the time this was the car that I really, really wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you bought an R8?
No, no, I haven't. I think
That's not good news for your husband, because have you ever sat in one, Andy?
No.
Have you sat in one, Katie?
yes.
I'm 6'4", and I had to do a relatively long journey in one once, and yeah, it was quite uncomfortable towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
You're right in there, aren't you? I must admit, though, it's nice in there. It's a good.
Yeah, I did one of those driving experiences years ago in an R8, because obviously it was very well known amongst friends and family. It's the car that I wanted. So it's one of those, you turn up, you get a bit of tuition, and you get 5 laps and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a moment. But that was okay, at least I'd driven one, and that was okay. Yeah, I've got that buzz and I know what I want to get. And then I guess not quite there yet. I have had some fun cars. My current car, I think, is probably the one that I'm the most in love with, and I think it's entirely ridiculous, but it gives me no end of joy driving it.
What have you got?
Go on.
I have got a Ford Mustang V8.
Oh, wow.
A new one rather than the classic one?
Yeah, new one. So it's bright orange.
Okay.
Because why not? You get a silly looking car, you got to get in a silly looking colour.
Fair enough.
So it really, really stands out. Racing stripe down the middle.
Nice.
Yeah, 450 brake horsepower is absolutely stunning. It definitely wants to kill me every time I go on the motorway when it's raining. Yeah, it's beautiful.
We've had another guest, haven't we, Andy, that had the same vehicle, I believe.
Yeah, my cousin Sally we had on.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's had a couple of Mustangs, and yeah, she's
Mustang Sally.
yeah, but indeed, yeah, big fan of them.
They do make a nice noise, I must admit.
They do, and they've got, obviously there's little tricks in different modes, and you've got racetrack mode and the exhaust opens up and it's just absolutely stunning. So if it's a lovely kind of summer's day, dry on the roads, window down, just enjoy the sound of the car. So no music on, just really kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
Weather, obviously living up in the northwest, you can only really get a couple of days where you can really, really enjoy it. So when that happens, it's stunning.
Cool.
Fantastic. What does your husband race, out of interest?
So the last couple of years, he has been in Citroen C1s. I absolutely love them, even though I've written one off and I won't get back in one again. So he's done endurance racing in them. So typically anything between 3-5 hours. He did a 24-hour race a couple of years ago as well. And he did sprint racing in the City Car Cup the last couple of years. And then this year he's going back into endurance racing in one.
Okay, cool.
It's funny. So I am the series coordinator for the C1 Endurance series in the UK. So I like to call it babysitting 60 cars and drivers on a race weekend, because effectively it's what I spend my day doing. And we've had ex and current touring car drivers sit in the seats, and they all say the same thing: if it's a completely different ball game in terms of how you race them. It's all about keeping your speed.
Yeah.
If you brake too hard, you scrub off too much speed, the rest of your lap is compromised. So it's all about kind of adapting your driving style to keep that momentum in the car, which is really interesting. So we've had, for example, Josh Cook, Jade Edwards, Tom Ingram. I've been in the car all last year, at various points, and you can really see how they've had to adapt their driving style to be able to cope with the 67 brake horsepower of a C1.
Yeah, that's not a lot of power. I spent the first 5 years driving a 1 litre Polo, so yeah, I got very used to momentum, not braking for corners and roundabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, one day it's kind of bucket list thing to get my race license and do something silly. I've not got the money to go racing for a full season, but yeah, arrive and drive or something maybe one day.
Definitely. I definitely champion the C1s. Obviously working for them now, I think it's given an extra kind of perspective on it and seeing the different characters that race in.
Yeah.
We call it the cheapest form of racing. and you get a lot of seat time for the money that you pay for it.
Yeah.
Robin, who runs the racing club, he's definitely of the mindset of bunch of mates getting together, lads and dads, families, and going out on a race weekend and doing loads of laps and enjoying it. So it's not so much about going for the win, but actually what can you achieve over the weekend, places you can gain. And I think a good example that I had was as a team manager for the 24-hour race, I had 5 drivers in a C1. None of them had either been around Silverstone before where the race was or had driven that C1 before. And they didn't tell me this until very close to the start of the weekend. And I thought, oh, this is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the back and it's going to be awful. And out of 60, I think it was like 63 cars, something like that, they qualified, I think, in the 50s. So it was not kind of great going into the race. I was thinking this is going to be interesting. But the one thing that Robin had said to me was, it's not about lap times almost, it's about consistency. If you can have really great pit stops, really kind of well thought out strategy, you time it well, consistent lap times, staying out of trouble, you will find that they'll climb very, very quickly. And we were going on for a top 5 finish.
Fantastic.
Even sort of only a few hours before the end of the race. The only thing that scuppered that was a stone.
Sandals.
No, not sandals. Thankfully, I checked all the team wear. Definitely no sandals. A stone in the radiator.
Oh, no.
I punctured it, so it was spitting out water. So the car came in and it took about, to be fair, it was very, very quick. We managed to get the radiator changed and refueled and back out in about 15 minutes. But at that point, you've lost a number of laps then. But we came in 15th, which to me, I think is such a sense of achievement. And I think really highlighted the purpose of that type of racing is going out, having fun, enjoying it and enjoying the success that you can find in it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much for joining us, Katie. It's been nice chat. Good to hear about the Rovers and hear about Driven Minds as well, and obviously the work you're doing in
the Rovers, the Sandals, and the Driven Minds.
Absolutely. That's the title sorted, isn't it? Are there any other bits you'd like to tell us about, kind of car wise or kind of what you get up to work wise?
Well, obviously, we were chatting to my brother yesterday. I think I need to do a shout out to him because he's kind of been the main person that has kind of fed into my interest in cars and racing. And I think I've been lucky enough to work in racing and have these experiences because he kind of helped build that foundation. And I get a lot of my kind of knowledge and understanding from him. And I think, when we're talking about this podcast, he said, make sure you credit me for any sort of anything that's car technical that I've been able to help you with. And then we started talking about our sort of first car that we had together. So my mum and dad bought a Skoda Fabia years ago, back in 2001, I think it was. And my mum had that for a number of years, again, battered and bruised because she's not the best driver. Sorry, mum. And then when it came to my brother turning 17, the car was handed to him to learn and then to use to drive to college. And then when I turned 17, it became this sort of shared car.
Yeah.
And it was really nice kind of reminiscing and memories of having that car where he wanted to modify it and do things to it to make it faster and look cooler. And it was just everything I hated at the time. So he put this awful exhaust tip on it, which didn't even fit on the car. So whenever you reverse off the driveway, it scraped along the pavement. It was awful. And I just remember for months hoping that exhaust tip would come off, where he would have a change of heart and I'd be sat at traffic lights, windows down, summer's day, and be like, what is that car making that noise? And then realising it was me.
Yeah.
And feeling really self-conscious and hating it. And then I guess the gods or, the powers that be listened to me because he was driving down the M56 one day and it just flew off.
Jeez.
Flew off the car, bounced down the hard shoulder and off it went. And it was gone forever. And he couldn't get it back, obviously. He'd driven off. And I was like, this is brilliant. I've been listened to. The car's kind of back to normal. But that car was absolutely driven into the ground. So that, I guess, really kind of added into our kind of love of cars and kind of growing up together. And I've got a lot to thank him for that.
You must have been out there with the spanners just loosening the exhaust tip.
Yeah.
Hoping it was just going to drop off one day. Like a relay baton, aren't they? Just like flying off down the motorway. Scary.
Yeah. In hindsight, probably a little bit scary. And he put stickers on the back of it, so like Monster Energy. And then we had this Colin McRae quote, if in doubt, flat out. That was on that car plus several others that we then got after that. So it's lovely car. I don't know if you guys do it, but previous cars I like to check if they're still running. So you check like when was the last MOT and what mileage it was on, is it still going? And we check for this Skoda for years and years afterwards, and eventually it gave up the ghost probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And that was sad seeing that it was sworn off the road and it's completely gone. But
I think I've likened that to looking up ex-partners on Facebook or something.
Yeah.
Not that I do that.
No, definitely, yeah. Just want to see what they're up to and hope that they're not having as much fun as I am these days. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much, Katie.
No, thank you.
Yeah, people can go and look up Driven Minds, find out what you're up to, and if they're at a racetrack watching some racing or even taking part, then look out for you guys and come and have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. We're definitely more than happy to speak to anybody. Yeah, keep an eye out for the yellow and black polo shirts. And definitely follow us on socials.
And the wasps.
The wasps, yes. You just tend to follow me around.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Right, nice to meet you, Katie.
Nice to meet you too. Take care, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Cool.
Very good.
Yeah, nice to have a chat. We were a little bit light on the car content, but some nice chats about other stuff anyway.
Yeah, not for the first time, I suppose. Light on the car content. There's a bit in it that reminded me to say about we're talking about your polo and you sort of using the weight, not braking, all that sort of stuff. Remember a friend of ours that we used to work with that he listens to this podcast actually. I remember he used to drive, there was a section of road that sort of fed down a hill to his house, probably about less than half a mile, but he would sort of get to the top of the hill and just turn the engine off and just roll, which looking back is absolutely scary.
It's just to coast it.
Yeah, obviously leave the ignition on so you can still...
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't know why he used to do it, but he did used to do it. And it would literally sort of crawl up to his house.
I just see if he could do it with momentum.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, an old green Rover with Radio 2. That was kind of what we got, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. That was the extent of the
my dad's car element. Oh, and some newer stuff. But
yeah, I suppose that's just the thing, isn't it, of younger guests when the car ends up becoming like a Bora.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's it is a bit of a red flag for us in a way, isn't it? So, in racing terms.
Yeah, I guess we have a few years over Katie, but
yeah.
So all the same, very grateful for her to come on. Nice to support what they're doing with obviously, mental health and kind of specifically the stuff around motorsport.
Yeah.
And that must have been hard, kind of 2020. For a lot of people, but I guess that kind of thing all just closed down.
Yeah, certainly, yeah.
If you're working in that industry, then all of a sudden the rug's pulled from under you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anything to kind of help people who are in any walk of life, really, but in that sort of circle, then very good.
No, it sounds like it's doing well, and
we have had a bit of fun, slightly at our mum's expense with regards to footwear. So that is something which kind of come out of it, which
that's what usually happens, isn't it? There's one sort of talking point that then can be just sort of rinsed dry for the entirety.
Yeah, sprinkle
it's kind of how we operate, isn't it?
Find something humorous, bring it up multiple times. Yes.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, we're a cheap act.
We are. We got nothing.
Yeah, very opaque. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Cool. We'll wrap it up. Roll the credits.
Thank you for listening to my dad's car. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please support us. Buy us a coffee and subscribe. And tell all your friends.